into the stage because I know he has to fix some problem on his presentation. So welcome on the stage. Mr. Gagliardi, it's Saint-Gobain Performance Plastic Sales Manager. He graduated in Business Administration at Babson College in the US, and he held various positions in Saint-Gobain Performance Plastic before in the US, and then later in Europe. So before I start with this presentation, I just want to remind that Saint-Gobain is one of the oldest company probably in the world, because it was founded in 1665 by the King Louis XIV and by Monsieur Colbert as a company that was supposed to save the French economy. So nowadays, Saint-Gobain is one of the leading companies in the construction material industry. So I'm sure that the combination of experience of Saint-Gobain and also Mr. Gagliardi, which is more than 25 years in this industry, will create a very useful and interesting topic for this speech. So please.
I think I'm almost ready.
Oh, you are almost ready. Okay.
Another unanticipated problem here. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers and the sponsors. And thank you very much for coming. And I hope you will find this interesting. If I can find a place for this here.
I just want to remind one thing, that also for Mr. Gagliardi, if anybody wants to make any question, you can do it also on Twitter with the hashtag Innovasyon 2012. And again, I was going to make a question, can win the book from Dr. Phil Samuel. I think this is not your presentation. We probably have some technical problems. Okay, we are.
Okay. Well, let's see where to start. I want to be very efficient in my communication. So what I will do is I will first talk about Saint-Gobain very briefly, and then we'll right away go into a particular product that Saint-Gobain makes. Saint-Gobain is a very old company. It was founded in 1664. And the first customer was actually the King of France, Louis XIV. And the first job was to do the glass for the Hall of Mirrors at the Palace of Versailles. Today, Saint-Gobain is among the top 100 industrial companies in the world, with over 200,000 employees, and is made up of 1,200 companies in 64 countries, and with sales of 42 billion euros per year. There are actually four major areas that Saint-Gobain where Saint-Gobain is operating: in packaging, construction products, of course, in building distribution, which has now become a very large part of Saint-Gobain, and innovative materials, where we make, of course, glass products, which is what Saint-Gobain is also very well known for. And maybe a little less well known is where I work, which is in the plastics area. So let me briefly talk to you about plastics. We are a worldwide leader in high-performance plastics, and we have manufacturing presence in 14 different countries, 4,000 people, and sales of over $1 billion per year. We operate in three sectors of activity, distributed among 7 business units, and we have 45 sites, and we serve a very broad range of markets. I'm not going to go into each of these, so don't worry. But just to give you an idea of how many different markets we operate in. Anywhere from automotive to pharmaceutical, and of course also construction. In terms of how Saint-Gobain Performance Plastics is organized, again, lots of detail here. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but the three sectors of activity are composites, fluid systems, and engineered components. The products that I'm going to talk to you about today come from the composites sector of activity, and in specific, the coated fabrics and the specialty films business units. These products are referred to as shear-filled architectural membranes. And it's a complete range of products. So let me go through very quickly what we're talking about here. First of all, we're talking about roof membranes in particular. And we have essentially two categories of roof membranes. The high-strength membranes used for very large structures, types 1, 2, and 2A. And then we have type 5, which is the lightweight membrane for smaller structures. Perhaps, okay, I can get into detail if you want to have more detail, but I don't want to do it without there being some interest in that. So I'll move on. One of the things I would like to spend some time on, though, is a particular technology which we are developing and have now commercialized, which is called EverClean coating technology. And this is a TiO2-based technology, which is an active process. So it's an ongoing process. Once it's installed, it works all the time to purify and clean the air. It also keeps the material clean. The other thing I will spend some time on is the category of films, architectural films. And then we also have internal membranes, so for acoustical management, noise dampening, and so on. And lastly, we have a range of products which are open mesh facade products, so essentially to cover the outside of the structure, not just roofs, but also vertical areas. The architectural membranes in particular, here I'm talking about the glass PTFE membranes, the high-strength membranes, and also the lighter membranes for the smaller structures. They have really essentially three major advantages. They're lightweight, they're durable, and they're non-combustible. Lightweight, why is that important? It reduces the necessity for a load-bearing support structure. It allows for very broad open spaces. So you have this material is capable of sustaining very heavy live loads, including heavy winds and snow, for example, across a very broad span. Durability is very important value added of this product. Life is, we say, up to 25 years, but I'll show you later. We actually have the very first structure that where we provided this material, which has been up and is still doing fine after much longer than 25 years. It's, as I said, it's composed of glass fiber and PTFE, also commonly known by the DuPont trade name Teflon. And these materials are very resistant to weathering and ultraviolet exposure. Yet this material is also translucent. That's another thing that's very important to take into account, that a certain percentage of sunlight goes through the product and into the environment, into the internal part of the building. So you have natural lighting, and it's a neutral natural lighting. So it's very literally natural also in its appearance. Another reason why it's durable is that it has a very low percentage of elongation. In other words, it does not stretch. So once you put it in place, it stays there and it does not relax over time. It's self-cleaning and it's also energy efficient. From a safety point of view, it complies with all the building code requirements. So very resistant. And again, if there's time, I can show you some examples. Actually have some video of that. Now, why Saint-Gobain in particular? Well, first of all, we've been coating fiberglass with PTFE for more than 40 years. The first structure made with this material is still there after 39 years, and I'll show you a picture later. We do everything in-house. It's vertically integrated manufacturing. So we do our own twisting, beaming, and weaving of the fiberglass fabric itself. And we also do the coating. And these are very wide products, up to 4 meters of width. And we have been innovating all along. So for example, we have now the ability to match colors. So if you give us a Pantone number, we can actually match that color for you. And we also have the EverClean coating technology, which, by the way, this is just to show a nice, clean environment. Don't look for the EverClean product here. It's not there. Levent asked me. Well, he asked me to take this slide out, but I didn't have time. It's a psychological thing. What is EverClean? Essentially it's a top coat to our shear fill products. It's a top coat which, by the way, does not reduce translucency in any significant way, only about 1 percentage point. And as I said before, it actually has a permanent functionality. It's functional throughout its lifespan. It has a permanent active catalytic effect, a constant generation of activated oxygen at the surface of the membrane. So it actually purifies the air. And I just, one of the reasons why I have my PC here is I need to click a link here to just show you some additional graphics. If I can just go back here. My old computer. It's not, won't let me, yeah, it's overloaded. I'll show you the graphic of the way this works, but here are the results. So we're going to change the order a little bit. 1,000 square meters has the air purifying capacity of 7,000 square meters of open green field. I'm going backwards, I think. Yeah, that's better. Or the same 1,000 square meters will neutralize nitrogen oxide and nitrogen dioxide of about 80 cars. This is on a continuous basis. I'll come back to, if my computer cooperates, I'll come back to EverClean again, and also if we have time. The other thing I want to talk about is the film. The interesting about the film is that it can be actually realized in 2 different ways, as multi-layer pressurized cushions, so air-inflated modules, or in a monolayer construction. It's available in dimensions of about up to 0.3 millimeters and 1.5 meter width, and will soon be available in 2 meter wide width. And soon, and also it's obviously very clear, optically clear. We can also, it can be printed for shading effects. So, as I said, it's high transparency. 96% of the light is transmitted. It's durable, about 20 plus years, and it's also mechanically strong. It's self-cleaning. There's no discoloring or decrease in light transmission. It's fire retardant, and it also can act as an insulation, thermal and acoustical insulation, especially in the 2-layer cushion, pressurized cushion configuration. Now here's some examples of ETFE in London and in Portugal. The other thing I want to do is just give you some idea of the shear fill structures that have been realized with the structures that have been realized with shear fill. And we have done many different structures, from stadiums to sport complexes to shopping centers, and so I'm going to show you some of those. Here's, by the way, the first one that I was talking about. It was realized in 1973, and it's still fine, so after almost 40 years. This is the Warsaw Stadium, the Durban Stadium in Dallas, London O2 Arena. Some of these, hopefully, some of these you are familiar with. Shanghai. This is the Red Bull Stadium in New York. We also have done transportation terminals, airports, train stations. When I say we, I should be clear about this. We make the membrane, but we do not install. We do not fabricate or install. That is done by our customers. So if you're interested, of course, we'll be happy to refer you to expert, experienced fabricator installers. Some landmarks. Here's the Formula One racetrack in Shanghai, the Expo in Shanghai, and also some special structures like the Sony Center in Berlin, and so on. Here, by the way, I wanted to make sure to show some pictures of shopping centers. This is Shearfill 5, which is designed for smaller structures. This is an example of the facade. This is open mesh facade material. So it's very useful, not only as a shading, but also to hide perhaps aspects of the structure that you would like to not have shown, and to improve the image of the building, for example. Now, I think the next slide is some of the more recent things that we've done. This is Marseille Velodrome and the Fonte Nova Stadium, Rio de Janeiro, and this is was supposed to be my last slide, of course, but I don't know. Do I have any time left? Probably not. Right?
Maybe we can start to ask if anybody from the public wants to make some question.
No.
No? I have one, actually. Okay, there's a question there. Perfect. Can we provide a microphone? Thank you.
Ben Tijen cam mozaiklerden tasarım yapıyorum. Ben bu ev kline takıldım biraz. Bu eğer bu ürünler havadaki kiri veya herhangi bir ortamda içine çekebiliyorsa, bunu herhangi bir zamanla boşaltma ihtiyacı hissetmiyor mu bu ürünler? Yani kendi kendine özümseme mi yapıyor bu içine? Bu kadar yıl süre içinde. Teşekkür ederim.
Okay. I'm glad you asked the question, actually, because those are the slides that did not come up. So, let's see if I can find them here. Okay. This is actually better. So, this is an active process that happens at the surface. Okay, so as you can see, I'm sorry, this microphone, when I turn my head, you can't hear me anymore. So. There's a photocatalytic layer that we put on the product, okay, and this is generating activated oxygen, and organic substances and bacteria are decomposed, okay, by this oxidation process. Okay, so that's how this is actually being achieved. And then when it rains, because this is a PTFE surface, I'll say the DuPont name Teflon, most people know it by the name Teflon. This is already a self-cleaning material. So when it rains, it just washes away. Now, if I go back, this is the other part of the discussion, which was having to do with the transformation of nitrogen oxide and nitrogen dioxide. It's actually, by virtue of this process, this oxidation creates nitrate. Nitrate is a fertilizer. Okay, so I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Another thing maybe could be interesting to say is that as it's catalytic, the coating is a catalytic material. It lasts longer. It is not used in the process, and so it lasts for a very long time, which could be very interesting because it doesn't need to be replaced or after a short time.
Yes, thank you, Paolo. That's right.
There are any question? Are there any question? Oh, there is one there. Wow. We have many questions for Mr. Gagliardi.
Ben şunu öğrenmek istiyorum. Bu materyalin kullanıldığı yapılar yeşil yapı statüsünde mi oluyor? Yoksa ekstra bir yeşillendirme ile mi tekrar yeşil bina statüsüne geçiyor?
It's hard to generalize. This will not guarantee green status, but it is indeed green. So it depends on the building in its entirety and the configuration, of course, of that specific building. But we do qualify. So the answer is yes, maybe. It depends. Sorry, but nothing is always, things are never that quite simple, but yes, of course, this is very much part of the value added here. I should also mention, by the way, that there are other materials out there which look similar, but they are not the same thing. The other materials have a much shorter lifespan, and they become dirty very easily. So after only a few years, they need to be washed with, actively washed and kept clean, and so it's important to make that point. So our material is more aligned with the value added in terms of total life cycle cost, and because the product lasts a very, very long time and is very low maintenance, it is generally an excellent choice for structures that are intended to be in place for a long time. They don't necessarily have to be huge structures like the ones I've shown. As I said, we've also provided material for smaller structures like shopping centers, for example, even canopies and so on. So this is important, and if you're interested in understanding more, I do have the ability to get into that detail and show you the comparison, for example. Many of the structures that you see around are PVC based, and these are lower cost materials, but they also last a much shorter period of time. So I can get into that, but I think we're probably going to
Unfortunately, we are running out of time.
Okay.
We are almost...
Well, I hope you found this interesting.
Hour,
so thank you very much.
So, thanks again to Mr. Gagliardi. And now there's a coffee break. So I want to invite all of you to drink and eat something. And if you had the chance, I also remember that since we are talking about innovation, we have a Material Connection library full of interesting materials up there. And if you want to visit, it's open for the public. Thank you.
Evet değerli misafirlerimiz, kahve molamızdan hemen sonra da sektör liderleri inovasyonu tanımlıyor başlığındaki canlı röportajı kaçırmamanızı tavsiye ediyoruz. Konferansımız ise